Hi, this is an introduction webinar on the new Phoenixai software for the Microsoft version, the Apple Mac, iPad, and for the new software to come on the Android tablet. Now, as we can see, we're looking at the connection into the Phoenixai software at the moment screen. This screen appears shortly after we double click the icon on our desktop. This screen appears. You are required to enter your username and password and sign in. And you can tick the remember credentials section so you don't have to keep typing in your username or password. In addition, on this screen, what we can see is right at the bottom, a create account. If you never used this software before, you need to create an account, even though you might be an existing basically user of the Phoenix software on the old version of the software. The reason you need to create an account is to set up also anything that you require to be backed up, and then you can restore from that backup. And that's why I'll go to the next section and talk about backup settings and restore settings. When we basically set up our workspaces and we put trend lines in and so forth, we have the opportunity to back all this up on the Phoenix server. Now, the purpose of this is if you've got more than one device, say one at home, one in the office, or you're traveling with the iPad or an Android as it gets released in the near future, the Android version, you'll be able to do your work and then you can back it up, and then you can basically use another device and restore it, the existing work that you've done, so you don't have to duplicate it all the time. In addition to this, of course, is the safety is if for some reason your computer dies for whatever reason, you're saying, oh geez, I have to do all my watch lists again, all my charts again. Well, basically you can restore from that. As simple as that. Now, I'm going to log in now, and basically once I log in, the program will actually bring up exactly as you left it when you closed the program. That might have been whatever workspace you were running with. So let's log in. And as we can see, this is where I left off the last time, and we can see my workspace at the moment has pretty much 7 windows, 3 charts and 6 charts and 1 watch list. Now, let's first of all, as an overview of this new software, let's talk about what's on the software. So we can then, once we can grasp what's on there, we can go through the steps how to utilize it. First of all, at the top, File, the word File on the menu on the top is the same as the folder. In other words, if I click the file, we can see Open something, which in this case could be a workspace or a chart that you've pre-saved. But whatever is available in File, it's also available in this folder. And you can see the same thing exactly appears. On Edit, I won't go into the Edit because that facility will be available shortly. It's basically edit, copying your charts and so forth. Next one is Connection. Now, Connection is basically to either connect to the program. I'm currently logged in. As you can see by where it says Sign Out, that's my option. If you're logged in, you can sign out, or you can disconnect. Now, the difference between signing out and disconnecting is this. Disconnection will just close the connection to the Phoenix server, and you can still do whatever's on your screen. Signing out, however, will revert to the original screen that we saw just prior to this screen, where we can basically log in from there and this screen will appear. And signing out obviously goes back to that. Next, we've got commands. Now, commands, if we click the command button, we can see these items that are currently available. You can see you can do a charts, you can go into watch list, depth, trades, symbol summary, dividends, dilutions, use headlines, etc., all the way down, and Inquisitor and alerts. So these are all the functionality that was in the old Phoenix are available on the new Phoenix, obviously. And or if you want to ask for a blank window, or this new feature which we will be making available over the coming weeks, which is, as it's renamed, the Phoenician editor. Now, what that basically means is you can you can write your own scripts, and therefore you can create your own indicators and so forth, and tools. So Phoenix will have that facility, or if you look like something on Supercharts or TradeStation and you like it, you can actually convert it over and it will run inside Phoenix. Okay. Now this commands section is also available on this drop down. Okay, so command is on the top as a menu and also as a button, and exactly the same things are available. Settings, well, first settings on here, these will shortly be linked. At the moment there's just manage layouts on this one, where on this is we can click the settings, and these are global settings here. Now basically market mosaic is the same as the Phoenix, I'll show you in a second. Then you've got charts, if you want to add charts, delete charts, rename charts, you know, when you save individually with notes and so forth and you want to remove them or rename it, you can do all that through here. Chart templates, save the templates. Sync is currently set to 60 seconds, and what that basically means, if you click on the first one, every 60 seconds it will continue to go down the chart every 60 seconds, and basically alter all these charts. And development, and this is part of the new feature which is part of the editor that allows you to write your own indicators and tools and so forth, or you can copy from, say, Supercharts or TradeStation, and you want to convert it over your personal stuff onto Phoenix, you'll run on that. There'll be a lot more on this later. We'll actually show you how to write indicators and also how to get copies and modify the scripts to run on here. It'll be pretty straightforward, but that is to come. Now, Windows, again, on Windows we can see where we can say horizontal split, vertical split, and close active. I'll go into detail with these. And help, and again, help topics, open the Phoenix website, and about Phoenix, telling you the current version on the Phoenix that I'm currently using. And on the button section, again, what we've done on the Windows, it's the same on the button, and the question mark is the same as the help. Okay, so that's the only difference is between this button and the settings. This is to manage layouts on settings up here, and this one, as I've basically gone through already. So everything else is within the window itself. In other words, if you go to charts, all the buttons will be on the chart. If you click on the watch list, all the buttons will be on the watch list. Now, if I go on the chart at the moment, we can see a padlock, and what the padlock means is if I lock it, the same as on the old version of Phoenix, if I change the chart on here, say to ANZ, it will change all of those except this because it's locked. Okay, that's all that basically. If I unlock it, basically it will keep it there. So if I go in here, and you can see the padlock is unlocked, and I'll lock this one because I don't want this one to change. I'll unlock that one, and I'll put NAB. As you can see, everything else changes except the locked. So unlock that, and if I do it again, for argument's sake, if I put in ANZ again, and you can see everything changes on that basis. So that's how you use the menus. Now, if I want to increase this window, make it a bigger window to work with, instead of, we had maximize and minimize before, as these type of buttons on the top, if you have a look, minimize, shrink it down to size, or the next one is just basically maximize that window. We don't have that facility, as you can see, anymore. What we have is this button here. Okay, all of them have their own button, as you can see. If I clicked on the one before, this one, there it is there. If I click on this one, there it is there. Okay, so if I want to maximize this chart, all I do is click that, and there it is. If I want to minimize that chart to where it was, I click the same button again, and there it is again. Okay, it is as simple as that. Getting the tools, I'll just maximize this just to see it a little bit better. Okay, when we look at the chart, we can see all the icons on here for charting. And when you look at a watch list, the icons will be on the watch list. When you look at an options watch list, will be on that, and so forth. So they all appear in their own window. Okay, now in the old Phoenix, we had a different button to do daily or weekly, a different button to do candlesticks or whatever, different to do intraday, to put in 60 minutes or 30 minutes. In this program, it all appears on the one. In other words, if we click this, and here we can see here daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, intraday, tick, and we can have all the functionalities we had before, all days, last days, from date, date range, and so forth, candlesticks or line chart or open, high, low, close, or high, low, close, etc. They all appear here. And all you got to do right now, if you want to change it to daily, click on daily, and you say OK, and it will change to daily. If you want to go back to weekly, click on weekly, or intraday for that matter, okay, and click the OK button, and it's back to weekly. If you want corporate actions to see when there's dividend history or whatever, click, and there they are there, and you can see all the corporate action. Although we've got, I think I'll change that color to make it a bit prettier later. Okay, and you can turn that off, of course. And to put it back to normal size, click. That's pretty much as hard as it gets. Now, the question is okay, how do I construct these workspaces? Okay, I can understand how to do the charts. How do I construct them? Now, keeping in mind, each window is only active when it's highlighted. I mean, the data will update as live as it occurs, but it's only active. In other words, if I click it, now this is the active window. This is the non-active window. This is the window you're working at. Or if I click that one, that's the active window. I will talk a little bit about that after I do the workspaces. Now, how do I construct this workspace? On the Phoenix, you can construct the workspaces as you see them, or you can also still do the old format the way Phoenix is currently run. I'll do the new format first and set it up, and then I'll show you the old format. First of all, to start from scratch, we need to close all this. So if we go to File and we close our workspace, we got one big empty space. Now, but what we do have also is these two buttons, so we can choose what we want in this empty space, or minimize and maximize it. Well, we need now to construct. We have to think, how do I want to do this? I always like my watch list down the side of the page, and I like my charts on the right-hand side. Well, let's do that. If we go to Window through here, or we go through this button, and first thing I want to do is I want to do a vertical split, okay? And what that basically means, it's split this whole window into two windows. You can see I've got my buttons here. If I click on this side, I've also got the buttons on this side. Now, I like my watch list across the side, so by using there's three little dots here, I can put my mouse over that, and I can drag it to the side, and I say, right, this is going to be my space for my watch list. I want my charts on this side, so I click on this side, and I click this button, and I do a horizontal split. Now you can see I've got three windows now, this way, and 1, 2, and of course this one, 3. I click on the top here, and I can either go via this section, or I can go via this section, and I can say, give me a vertical split. Now I've got another two windows. I click on here, I can say again, window, give me another vertical split there. Now I've just constructed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows. Now, let's say I want to create another window, and I click on this one here, and I can say, give me a horizontal split. And all I've got to do now is populate it with data in here. Well, first of all, I can click this mouse down here and say, give me the news headlines here. There they are there. On this one here, give me by clicking them down, I have the option to choose any of those. Give me a chart. And I'll just make this a bit smaller. Okay, and on this one here, give me also a chart. Now, I can see there's nothing in my charts yet, but I'm setting it all up. If I want to put a chart in there, I can say, click in there and just put in NAB, and here's a chart. Okay, and what it does, this is like a sync for both, unless you lock it, as I said before. But we'll come to that bit later. In here, I want to see another chart. And in that one, I want to see another chart. Okay, so I've got my charts. I've got my headline news down here. And in here, remember, this is for the window. That's for the global, what you're looking at here at the moment. The commands, both the commands, but you've got to keep it where the active window is. Now, on here, I'll choose a watch list. Actually, I'll do a watch list first. Yeah, why not? Actually, just before I do the watch list, if I click on here, I want to put two watch lists on here. So let's split the screen again. Window, and do a horizontal split. So I've got 1, 2 windows, and I can drag this window a bit lower, say there. And on this one, maybe I'll do a watch list. Let's choose currencies. Oops, currencies. Benchmark. And I can have my currencies on that one. And on this one, I can have, let's say, for my index constituents, let's say the top 50 stocks, shares. Make sure you use the right format here. I'm using the shares default too. You can check what's one of those, and I'll show you how to modify those. And as you can see, I've got two watch lists now. And what I'll do is if I hold ANZ down, it'll alter all of them to ANZ. Okay. And what I can do now, this one here is, let's make it intraday, 60 days with 60 minutes. Let's say I'll use candlesticks, I prefer that. And this one here is daily. And you can tell by just reading at the end, you see daily here. They're all daily at the moment. I'll change this one to weekly. And I'll change this one to monthly. Okay, so basically we've set up our workspace. Now all I really have to do is save this workspace. But remember I mentioned earlier what I said, I'll come back to it later, the active window. Now, what about if I want to change it now that I've done it? Well, you need to go to if you want to remove one, let's say, you need to go to the active window. That's you need to activate the window in order to remove it. Now, right now I'm highlighting this. If I go and delete it, I'll delete this window altogether. However, I want to delete my headlines down here. Doesn't feel like it's right. I click on that and go to Windows, and you can see Close Active Window, or you can go via the button here, and again, Close Active Window. If I close that, my news headlines is gone. Okay, so that's what it is. If I want to enlarge something, bang, it's enlarged. If I want to do a trend line on this chart, I can do my trend line. If I want to duplicate it, there it is there. Just get your arrow and grab and wherever you want to put it and so forth. Okay. If I want to delete it, get the eraser, delete, or if I right click my mouse button over it, delete. If I want to add an indicator of some form like volume, I can add study, and this is where all the indicators are. If you're looking for buttons and so forth, they're all under add study. You can say scroll down if you want volume to the V section. There's your volume, say OK, and volume appears. Okay, and basically you can change the colors, you can do a lot of things. On Graph Explorer, again, as the old version of Phoenixai, you click on Graph Explorer, you can see whatever thing you want to. If there's volume, if you want to format, okay, transform, you can modify quite a few things here. Section, properties, if you want to change the colors or anything like that, you can do it all through this section here. Okay, as simple as that. Now, to put the chart back to its source the way it was, again, this little button here, and it appears on that. To save this workspace, File, Save Workspace As, and I've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows. I've already got a 6 in there, so I'll call it 6B, just for the heck of it. Okay, it's saved as 6B. If I close my workspace, if I open now my workspace, you can hit open, and you can see there's 6B there. You can open your watch list, you can open your charts if you save charts, or Inquisitor. So if you want to run Inquisitor, you can open the scanning that we did before on the EWS BOF and a few other things like that. So you open your workspace, and you want to open your 6B and so forth. File, close workspace, and if you wanted to open, say, my 7 window that I had before, and so forth. Now, if I click in any of these windows and I use the command button again here, I can change it if I want to a watch list or an option. So if I go to traded options, I can choose, say, ANZ. I can say OK, and here's the options thing. I can enlarge this watch list. I can change it from all to the last 3 months, just to narrow it down. Again, that's also got a sync play button, so you can actually step down if you had to do that. One thing we need to have a look at is, what about if you want to modify any of these formats? Can you see now in these formats, theta, there's data there, but you can't see it all. The columns are too tight. Well, this button up here, if I click that, it'll literally adjust all the columns. If I want to modify the columns here, and this, you can do this on any watch list, anything that's got like a spreadsheet like that, you can modify all those. And how do you do that? Is this button here that we'll have, Manage Columns Layout. In other words, you can make a new column and you can select from here all this stuff and move it across, and and save it as the name you want. You can have odd rows, even rows. You can have grids on or off. You can have different colors, down colors, flashing colors if you wanted flashing lights on it, and so forth. To create a new one, it's simple as new. Call it 1, 2, 3, 4, for argument's sake, and you say OK. Now there's my 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and by default I've got some things there, but we can modify them and do whatever we want. Right, there it is there. And you can add to it, remove to it. If I highlight it, I can remove it by using the remove button, or if I want to add the percentage button, I can then move it the other way, and it'll go. If I want to put next to a plus, and I want to add the percentage next to plus, I can go click, and as you can see now, there's the plus on this side, and therefore the percentage is next to the plus minus there. If I don't want that there, I just remove it again, and basically apply, and say OK, and that's it. And it'll be in the selection section. When you do another watch list, for argument's sake, if I went to command section, I went to watch list, and there's your 1, 2, 3 on the top here. If I want to use that setting altogether for any watch that I want, so you can customize everything, literally everything. Okay, everything's customizable on this thing. There we go. Let me just minimize that. Important thing also, I'll just highlight something, a chart again, and I'll enlarge it. An important thing also when using Graph Explorer is if you click on chart, okay, and you format it, you can see on the chart, this is all the things you can change. You can change background fill, frame fill, access font, so all these fonts here. All right, I'm using Tahoma 9 bold here, but you can modify all those. The access pen, that's the access line here, the red one, all across. You can grid pen if you want to put grids, all these grids here that's on the screen. You can modify those. Vertical grids, that was just the grid pen, the color in other words. The vertical grid, if you want to basically enabled. Chart bar width, and so forth. You can play around with all the way you want to make it look and feel, basically. Okay. In addition, we got at study, we did the indicators, but under highlights where you can do some of the engulfing patterns, candlestick patterns and dojis and so forth, they're also here. Okay. Island reversals, new highs, new lows, they're all here. Okay. Gradients, pivot points. Okay. They're all there, and of course all the indicators are here too. If you wanted more than just, let's say, we've got here, Hawkeye jewel hammer, and there's your jewel hammers. If you want to remove it, Graph Explorer, Hawkeye jewel hammer, delete. Okay, so you can add and remove things quite easily. I'll back to that again. Now, let's just change this to a watch list first of all. Go to a watch list. Go to watch list on the top on the menu there, and you can see there's one called banks. I've added a few little things in there, and here it is. Now I can enlarge this again just to have a look at. This is my watch list on banks. Now you can add anything you like, they call it whatever you like, and notice all these things are the same. Obviously there's no calls or puts here, but primarily it's the same sheet that does everything. Your columns, again, your format, as we said, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 that we've done up here before, and we can add things, 12-week highs or lows, or 12-week trades, values, 1 week percentage move, 1 week high. You can do all these things and add them and modify them and save them as you want. If you wanted to add instruments to this, hit the plus button on the top, and let's say we got NAB, Westpac, what else? I'll just add BHP for the heck of it. Enter and say OK. And there's BHP, you can see added to the spreadsheet. If I want to remove it, delete, yes. Okay, as simple as that. You can make your own, as many as you like, watch lists. In other words, if you wanted to make a new watch list, you can, as we said before, watch list, make new, and enter a new watch list name, and that will appear in here when you add it in. As simple as, and then again you can add to it as was shown. Okay, now we've saved workspaces, and I'll show you one more. If you want it, basically the whole idea, if you wanted a market depth screen, it's a market depth screen. Okay, and here's market depth. If you wanted to change this to a market mosaic, you'll do a market mosaic, and so forth. Okay, if you want to enlarge that, you can see most things are green today, so the market's generally overall up. The duller the color is, means it's not up as much. The brighter the color means it's up a fair bit. Or if it's very bright red, it's a fair bit down. If it's dull red, it's a little bit down on that particular area, the materials index. If it's black, it's pretty much neutral. Nothing. Okay, and I'll go back to charts here. Okay, so we've done the watch lists. We showed you how to construct workspaces. You can have as many workspaces. The good thing about this is this. I can go to File, Open again, and let's say now I want to open another workspace, say this one here, and I can say Open in New Window. I can say click, I can say OK. Now, it's gotten that watch space, but using my Alt Tab, I can flick between them. Okay, I can flick between the workspaces. So you can do that also. Now, price targeting, I won't worry about that. The tools work exactly the same way as before. Okay, if you're doing trend lines or support lines, or you want to do a support line, you can add the values in, you can do whatever you want to do basically. Okay, so they all work exactly the same way. What I will be doing in the next little video tutorial I'll do is I'll include the scanner and a few other things, but I hope this has been helpful in how to use it. What I'm going to do just to show you exactly is when I connect, if I disconnect, I just lose the actual connection like I said before. However, if I sign out, what will happen is it goes back to my original window as I did before. And if I wanted to, if I did a bunch of work as I said before, and I want to back up my settings, I click back up and it shows my username, and then it asks to put my password. You type in your password. I won't do it because I've already done mine before. You say OK, and everything that you've done on this device will be backed up on the server, and when you log in again, when you start up again next time, if it's not on the same computer, you just restore and on the other device, and everything that you've done will be restored on that device. It is as simple as that. Well, I hope that's been helpful to you. Like I said, I will do some others, but I think that's a pretty good overall view on how to use the new Phoenix, and just look out for new webinars to come. Thank you so much.